Hey, Niels Mahoney here once again with another chitty chat with somebody in our industry. And I don't just mean any old somebody. You'll know this man from his voice. He certainly does. From United DJs, it's Bob Lawrence. Hello, Bob.
Oh, hard as. How you doing?
Oh, the old classics. Well, at least you got it out of the way. Got it out of the way, first of all. I'm loving the old beanie cap there. Is it chilly or are you just styling it?
I'll tell you why I'm wearing this. Because I was in self-isolation. And I took advantage of the fact that I'm not going to see my missus for months now. So I've got the shaver out and I've gone zzz, and I think I went a little bit too zzz. Yeah, and I'm not taking it off because frankly, if this ever gets seen, I will know. So underneath this, I'm near naked. So I was panicking thinking, oh no, I can't do a video thing with and then I remembered that I had the so yeah.
You've got the company logo emblazoned on your skull. Well done.
Well, it was either that or get one of those things they have on football matches behind me with lots of sponsorship, but I don't have any sponsorship.
I had a very similar story when I lived in Canada once. I went to the barbers and there was a Chinese man who didn't speak English, and I went just a little bit. I meant a little bit off. He meant that's as long as you want. Literally the razor. So I totally get the whole "what the hell am I doing with my head" thing. You don't realize how.
You've got a good head of hair there. This one goes
back on Monday, and the new one's delivered Tuesday. So hey, but there's a million of these. You're at home though, or where are you? Are you still?
Yeah, I'm at home. Yeah. Well, no, I was self-isolating for 2 weeks because I got what I thought was the start of a cold. And I feel, so I self-isolated for 2 weeks. But that start of a cold never went, and I've still got it now. I broke my self-isolation after 2 weeks to go shopping. Mm-hmm. Oh, that scared me. It's weird out there. It is weird out there. So I got my shopping and rushed back, and now I just think, you know what, I've got enough food for 2 weeks. I'm just going to stay here, and I don't want to go out again. I mean, I do my show from here, as you know, and I live here. And the weekend, I poke my head out the back garden, and that's about it. It's a weird time, isn't it? It's a very odd time.
It's like we were saying. It's like when you're a kid, when you choose to go to your bedroom to play. It's different to being told to go to your bedroom to play. When you're told, you go, actually, I think I'll do something else. It's just when you're not allowed, it changes the game.
That's right. That's right. I mean, even prior to you, DJ, I mean, I've been voicing from home from the start of ISDN. And so I'm fairly used to being at home all the time. But as you say, it's just the fact that I can't go out, which psychologically, it definitely plays games with you.
It does a little bit. Yeah. Well, I think we need to fly, don't we? When we're told we can't fly, we kind of rebel against it. Are you eating more? Because I'm eating way more sitting on my behind doing it. Yeah. Well, I wish I do it. I don't put on any weight. I've got this bloody ridiculous metabolism.
You're one of those.
No, it's annoying. It's bloody annoying. I'd love to put on some weight. I'm like, nah, it's very annoying.
No, you wouldn't.
I bloody would. So what's your favorite snack at the minute then? What are you going through?
Biscuits. Because when I went to the supermarket, I thought, what can I get? And I know I'll get loads of biscuits. And I don't normally eat biscuits, but I've just got biscuits and biscuits and biscuits. And I just sit down. Because do you remember WKRP in Cincinnati, the TV show?
Of course I do. Yeah.
So you'll remember Johnny and Dr. Johnny Fever.
Dr. Johnny Fever, yeah.
For the uninitiated, WKRP in Cincinnati had a breakfast jock called Dr. Johnny Fever. And when he finished his shift, he would try and get as much sleep as he could anywhere in the building. You'd find him on the desk and whatever. And that's kind of what I do. I didn't set out to be Johnny Fever, but I live my life just like him. And so I kind of, I fell asleep again on the settee. I know. Some sugar, so I have a couple of biscuits, and then an hour later the same thing happened.
Because you
I'm
crash
getting through biscuits like
crash after. Well, you've just described every morning radio person in the world, haven't you? Pretty much. That's
I don't understand. I don't understand, Nails, how anybody can want to do a breakfast shift. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy the show.
It's a great show, right? Yeah.
But the lifestyle of being a breakfast man is just bizarre. And I've got it lucky because I get out of bed fall down the stairs into my studio. I don't need to leave the house. But these guys who get up and have a shave and go out and, wow,
again,
I have the ups.
When I was starting out in Canada, I used to do the overnights, as you do. They had overnights back then. And about 4:30 in the morning, the breakfast guys would come in for their show. It starts at 5:30, showered, everything smelling like roses. I'm like, how do you people get up at? Like, they must be up. I was thinking, you get up at 3 a.m. to have a shower. That's ridiculous. I don't mind if you smell. It's okay. Get a bit of extra sleep. I can put up with it. You know?
Absolutely.
So, wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's dedication.
Yeah. Well, all stupidity. I don't know.
Yeah, I was trying to be nice.
No, not for me. Not for me. It's, you know,
I think what was your favorite shift? What's your favorite?
Overnights.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it eats into your social life, but for being on the radio, you see, my motivation for being on the radio was never about being a star. I've never been interested in that. I've never, I mean, you know, I could bore you rigid with career mistakes that I've made because I never had a career path. I just loved being on the radio. And if you love being on the radio, you want people to listen to what you're saying, don't you? And the guys, when you're on overnights, you know, it's absolutely true that they listen to every syllable. Yeah, that's true. And it was fantastic. I love overnight radio. Yeah. And if it wasn't for the fact that, you know, in society, we get up during the day and we sleep at night, that's the one I would love. And I think it's a shame, you know, that for many of the kids but many of the youngsters starting out in radio, they don't learn on overnights because you learn an awful lot about what people expect from the radio and what from the radio. Yeah. And you learn a lot about people. And I just worry sometimes that there are far too many people on the radio who don't actually understand people and understand how people use the radio. One of the great things about overnight radio.
We were talking to a guy called Drew Dalby a little while ago in Canada, and he was saying, sort of on that line, he says, you're now starting to see who as he called them, the Reddit jocks are and the Facebook jocks are, and then the ones who can actually connect with people. You're starting to see it. It's starting to show their colors now. And a lot of it is, like you're saying, it's that training. I remember one of the things I loved about overnights was the fact that the format is stripped down. There's hardly any ads. There's no contests. You have to do everything pretty much because it's the bare bones, and you really learn how to use a format and use just the body of a station.
Yeah, but you see, we're straying into another pet topic for me, which is that I worry sometimes whether people on the radio nowadays fully understand how to be on the radio. There's lots of people who know how to work a format and how to hit the next button on the computer. Yeah. When I first started, we had no access. The only thing we had was newspapers. You'll remember that.
Yeah, you rip and read.
Yeah. Outside of that, it was down to what was in here. And, you know, 4-hour overnight shift or whatever, and you had to get from that record to that record, but you didn't have a bit for another 20 minutes or so. Somehow you had to think of what to say. And I've spoken to lots of people in radio now, and they don't understand that. They don't understand how you can actually come up with something to link that record into that record, because all they're used to is the little liner which comes up on the screen, or the forward promote the breakfast show, or whatever it is. And argue that this is just the ramblings of an old man, and it really doesn't matter anymore because that's the way radio is. Radio is like that, but it doesn't mean it's going to be like that in another 5 years or 10 years.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, because I think this is going to change something in radio. Like we were reading just the other day, streaming is going down and radio listenership is going up because people are looking for that human voice now, that person. And if you can present and if you can communicate, then it's a really great opportunity for the proper communicators now to gain a new audience, or just to learn more about themselves, whatever. I think it can only be good in that regard. But the ones who are found out will be the ones, as you say, read the liners and promote the breakfast show and ask you what your favorite biscuit is. They'll be the guys that get found out, right? By the way, it's It's not a bourbon cream, mate. Not nothing bad about the old bourbons there.
The problem is, Nails, that you know, when I start talking about
I know
radio,
yeah,
I always run the risk of people going, "Oh, there's
he's
an
the old
old
man.
geezer."
Oh man, yeah, yeah,
The old
yeah.
days. And I suppose to a certain extent that's true, but I mentioned earlier that, you know, if you look at my career path, I made so many mistakes because I never wanted a career radio. I just wanted to be in radio. I mean, the biggest, I look back, I was working on BRMB Radio, which is the radio station second largest city in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, Birmingham, yeah.
And again?
In Birmingham.
In Birmingham. Sorry,
Yeah.
I got a message on my screen and I couldn't
too
read
damn
it.
popular.
Yes, I was on BRMB, and I left BRMB voluntarily to go to Beacon Radio. Now, you know, that's in football, that's like leaving Tottenham Hotspur to go and play for Brentford through choice.
Yeah.
And that career-wise, it was a huge mistake. But, you know, it was just because I thought Beacon was a far better radio station. It sounded better on the air. So I just wanted to go. And I can't remember why I started talking about this now. This really is an old man. But
are you having a senior moment? Why did I come into the room?
Absolutely. Yeah. Who are you? No, but I think what I was saying is that my reasons for being always been radio rather than career, rather than money, rather than looking for a TV gig, you know, whatever it is. And the problem with that is you end up in a situation, as I end up, where you look around and you go, hang on, where's all the radio stations gone? They've all gone.
Yeah.
Actually, there isn't anywhere anymore. And you end up being an ex-radio person, and nobody wants to hear from an ex anything.
They sure
you
don't.
Are just an ex.
They sure don't. Yeah, yeah. And as you say, you don't want to cross that line. Maybe you do. It depends on your outlook. But you don't want to be seen possibly as the old guy who's just giving out about the young kids, because there's plenty of people who are starting out, and we hear them every day, who are really bloody good at what they're doing, and we go, that's a natural talent. Sure. You're a bloody community, because you don't stop developing these people. These people will still be there. It's just how they're treated and how they're molded and allowed to fly free and do their thing. I think that's the important thing, isn't it? Rather than that you say, here's a liner, promote the breakfast show, and then go home. That's no use to anybody.
I mean, I've worked different formats, and I think there's a lot to be said for working a format and staying within format. And, you know, that teaches you so much. But one of the things I'm very keen that broadcasters, for their own sake and for the sake of radio, one of the things I'm very keen that broadcasters learn is how to communicate and how to broadcast.
Big time.
Not just how to hit the next button. And that does concern me a bit for the future. I'm not sure. I've noticed in the recent thing where people are coming from their home studios and, you know, and I look on social media, and there's this fascination for putting pictures up of, hey, here's my studio. Here, look, top with a USB mic. And, well, it really makes no difference what you broadcast with. What matters is comes out of here and what you do with these. And again, you know, I think, how lucky was I? I started in land-based pirate radio, where everything was held together with string and sellotape, in the corner of a bedroom with a homemade compressor and a homemade I went to Radio Caroline, and we had 50,000 watts, and we were all over Northwest Europe. But if people had seen the studio, and you know, it literally was gaffer tape and insulating tape, and you've got to keep hold of the desk while you're speaking because there's an earth loop problem or whatever it may be. Now, all of that, the reason I'm highlighting all of this is because actually it don't matter. You know, if you can work through that kind of adversity and still concentrate on what you're doing and concentrate on what's coming out of their radio, that stands you in great stead. If you don't do, what tends to happen is whenever the slightest thing goes wrong, like we can't broadcast from our studio base, so we've got a laptop with a USB, you become obsessed by the fact that you're broadcasting on a kitchen table with a USB mic laptop. Actually, it doesn't make any difference. Just do the program.
Yeah.
And whether it's a next button or you're winding up a gramophone and waiting for it to get up to 45 before you open the fader, whatever it may be, you just concentrate on the show. So yeah, it does concern me that it, you know, there is this obsession with, oh, I'm coming from my home studio. Who cares? Who cares ultimately?
Yeah, we've been banging on about this for quite a while. Just do your show. Do the best show you can do. It doesn't matter where you are. But you can bring it into your show. You can make it part of your gig. I'm at home. You know, start inviting people into your home.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
There's bloody free show prep right there. You've got the whole thing. Have the dogs barking in the background. Whatever. Just use whatever you have. You know, enjoy it. It's a whole new thing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Bob,
we should run radio stations.
Don't be ridiculous. What do we know about anything? Bob, go back to sleep. You're up in the morning.
I know.
Sleep well. It's been a good time talking to you, man. Thanks for taking the time to do this. Really appreciate it.
Speak to you soon.
All right. Bob Lawrence from United DJs. All the best.
Cheers, Nels.